Well, hello and welcome everybody to the New Health Conversation. And for all the sensors out there, I want to assure you again that at the New Health Conversation, the only thing we share with the audience is what's in the public domain. We don't make up things. We have no claims. Everything we're talking about is original research. We've written 4 best-selling books, some of the top medical doctors in the world. And again, all of that research is our research. So we never make claims. Everything we're talking about is safe, and everything has been backed by 10 peer-reviewed medical studies. So I just wanted to kind of get that out of the way. So, wow, Feel City, Elaine, Gabe, Martuska. Hello, everybody. Good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you're tuning in from around the world. This podcast does go all over the world. So I'm happy to be here today. Now, the subject at hand is what you're looking at right there. That's the cover of Women's World magazine, which is the #1 women's magazine in the world. This is a new, as they say, the new over 50 protein miracle. It's not really just based on protein, that's what they called it. This is such an honor. I coached these 2 women, I know them. The daughter lost 50 pounds in 90 days. She's 57 years old. The mother is 80. She lost 91 pounds in 9 months. They both kept it off for 2 years. So what we want to share with you today is what in the world, how did they do this, okay? I think the problem is that people, when they see something like this, okay, they become skeptical. But you have to understand the reason, and I had nothing to do with this protocol. We just teach people how to do it. We didn't invent it. It was invented by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the entire world. And they put this together. It took them 40 years of research, 100 studies, thousands of people. And here's what's cool. They don't have any products. This is not based on products. This is based on brand new food combinations that they put together that no one had ever done before, and 2 completely new ways of consuming food that no one had ever done before. It's called R2M, race to maintenance, because their goal was not a question, could they get all the weight off you? Could we keep the weight off long term? Because in 40 years, 100 studies, thousands of people, as you all know, they wanted to avoid the yo-yo effect. And the yo-yo effect obviously has affected all of you. As a matter of fact, there's 80% of Americans overweight right now as we sit here today. 50% are obese and 50% are pre-diabetic. Does that sound to you like diets are working? Now, granted, I know we have the shots now. We've got all these different approaches. But so far, none of them have ever worked long term until now. Now, I lost 40 pounds doing this 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. The main reason to get involved with this, or to think about getting involved with this, is simply it's not a question, can you lose the weight? But it's much more than the weight loss, as you'll see. It's also about improving their health, okay? Also, right above the article, you can see it in blue, the New Health Conversation. It's a free medical website where you can go. You can see the medical proof. On that website, the New Health Conversation, there's nothing to buy. We're not going to contact you, etc. The most important thing that we can teach you today is why in the world, or how in the world did they come up with this and have these incredibly dramatic results that they had. I mean, you can't argue with the fact that a 57-year-old loses 50 pounds in 3 months, and the mom, 80 years old, 80, loses 91 pounds in 9 months, and they both kept it off for over 2 years. And the thing that's amazing, see, you couldn't buy the cover. You can't buy the cover of Women's World. So basically, they're treating it as a news story. They're treating it as this major, major breakthrough, because they even said in the article that they actually wrote, which is pretty amazing, it was based, and they interviewed this #1, he's ranked the #1 nutrition weight loss physiologist in the entire world. They wrote a 2-page story on it, 2 pages. New protein miracle diet. That's them saying that. That's not the people who invented it. By the way, the researchers who invented this, they don't have any products. They don't have a company. This is food. People be asking, what's the product? There's no product, okay? So get that out of your mind. I understand this is really tough for all of you to wrap your head around, and a lot of you are jumping off because you want a 10-second answer about, oh, we're going to send you some recipes, you're going to get this pill. No, it doesn't work like that. This becomes a new way of living your life if that's what you choose. Now, that's not a bad thing, because it's not really very restrictive. I mean, initially, you want to pay attention to exactly what they did and how these 2 women did this. But let's go in. Let's start to look at some of the people. Now, the 2 women were not part of these medical trials. Let me say that. but they did exactly what they did in the medical trials. I know because I coached them. So let's look at some of the people in the trials. For example, this is Kristen, 21 pounds, 38 inches in just 30 days. That is not a misprint. It's not AI. It's not Photoshop. I'd love for anybody to comment. What do you think about that, any of you? Wow. Amy, Marlene, Noodles, S. Lynx, Husker, GBR, but that's Nebraska, DN Lowe, Desmond. Um, so again, for all of you, if you're really, are you, what do you, I'd love for anybody just to comment. What do you think about that? Because we all know on diets, what would you say if anybody was, brave enough to put it in the chat? If you want to lose 20 pounds on the best diet, the best trainer, the best gym, how long would you give yourself? I mean, seriously, how long would you give yourself to lose 20 pounds? This is real, and it's backed by 10 peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. Nobody in the world has that, not even close. As a matter of fact, you're following all these people on social media. I know you are, and they're nice people, but are they showing you one shred of medical evidence? Is there one shred of medical evidence behind what they're claiming? I've never seen it. So in other words, you're handing over your health, in a sense, to them with no proof. Why would you do that? Because now, after today, you can't pretend you didn't know that there's an alternative. You didn't know this is now new science. Well, the magazine, they call it the diet, the new diet miracle. Those their words. So let's look at a few more people, and then I promise I'm going to come back and I'll walk you through meticulously what did they do, how did they do it, etc. But I want you to get the big picture first about the fact, if you've ever seen anything, what about the skin laxity from losing weight that quickly? Yeah, okay, I'm going to show you that in just a moment, okay? Look at this. Look at Julie. So that picture, that's 35 pounds in 37 days. Talk about elasticity in your skin. Look at that. Veronica, what do you think? Give me a comment. That's 35 pounds in 37 days. Look at how much she shrank. There's no loose skin. The next picture I'm going to show you will really blow your mind. It's the daughter of a friend of mine. And when you see this picture, you're going to go out of your mind. You can't even imagine what's going. Yeah. Now this next one, Veronica, let's take a look at her. This is my friend's daughter. So we didn't Photoshop this. Okay, Veronica, ready? Look at that, Veronica. 60 pounds in 3 months. Look at her face. Look at her arm. But look at her midsection. Veronica, do you see? Look at her midsection. That's no kidding. And by the way, no one was allowed to exercise. This is without any exercise at all. And they had to wear Fitbits to prove they didn't exercise. Not that the researchers were against exercise. So don't get uppity on me, everybody. No, because they eliminated exercise as a factor. They wanted to prove with this new revolutionary way of consuming food, what kind of foods and what intervals, etc., what would it do on its own? Look at that. Veronica, yeah. What do you think, Veronica? Is a wow good enough? Now, the next picture I'm going to show you will really blow your mind. It's an older gentleman. Wait till you see his results. Look at that, everybody. 40 pounds, 52 inches in 30 days. The thing I think you can see is that, look at his stomach from day 1 to day 30. And I can assure you that there's no loose skin. I mean, it's as a matter of fact, on the website, which I'm going to encourage all of you to go once I explain to you exactly how are they doing it. But look, see, I know everybody gets excited about, that's 10 pounds a week he lost, right? But the key, look at his lab work, everybody. Look at his A1C went from 8.4 to 6.4. His triglycerides from 242 to 124. That's in 30 days. And it's all published in these medical studies. So you can go and see the medical proof. I don't want you to believe me. Why should I have to convince you of anything? I'm showing you the evidence. My job is sort of like a nutritional investigative reporter in a sense, because I'm the researcher of the researchers. I'm reporting the results to you from these other world-class. The people who created this protocol, they're rated the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologists in the whole world. You think they know what they're doing? I'd say they know what they're doing. So let's come back and talk about how did they do it, because that's the big question that everybody has. Some people are getting ready to go to work and they're rushing, and they come on here and they want to be on for like 30 seconds and think they're going to get the answer for the rest of their lives. It's a little more complicated than that. So let's talk about some of the basics. I'd love for anybody to tell me in the chat, Put it in the chat. The definition of a calorie. Because you're all counting calories. And yet, I mean, it's so rare when anybody even knows the definition of a calorie. So the first thing you're going to learn is on this protocol, counting calories is dead. What the researchers focused on were two principles. One, could they find foods that they would identify that had high levels of nutrition and low quantities of food itself? So it wasn't about how much food you were consuming, it was about how much nutrition you could get. And that's the downfall of all the diets you're on currently or have ever been on. I'm going to give you a whole new take that the researchers figured out. Now, this might seem simple, but wow, does it make sense? A diet, well, first of all, your body runs not on calories. Shocking. Your body has no idea what a calorie is. Why you're counting them, someone told you that's the most ridiculous thing ever. The whole scheme, which I call scheme, calories in, calories out, has been completely debunked. And we have medical study after medical study proving that. The researchers don't have to prove that. They prove that not doing calories in, calories out blew away any diet of calories in, calories out. So, see, your body runs on a minimum of nutrition. The reason that's critical is that amount of nutrition is what the brain then is satisfied. There's enough fuel to run all your organs, your brain, your kidney, your liver, your heart, etc. But it doesn't run on calories. Your body runs on nutrition. So, new definition of a diet for everybody. What you do on a diet is you're reducing the quantity of the food you're consuming. But at the same time, have they ever told you you're lowering nutrition? When the brain senses not enough nutrition, it literally panics. It goes in starvation mode. It prevents you from accessing the fuel stored inside your fat cells, which is what we're supposed to run on, is the energy inside the fat cell. This whole nonsense about you're going to burn fat is just a lie. You're born with a certain number of fat cells, you die with a certain number of fat cells, and those fat cells can either expand or they can contract over the course of your lifetime. The only way to get rid of fat is liposuction or through surgery. So let's get that out of the way. So what the researchers did based on that, they went out and found food groups and put them together like never before in history. So first, she got you would get the same thing. Only 30% of what she consumed was organic food from sources in North America. And these included proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits. But again, instead of giving her calorie counts, they gave her serving sizes. Hopefully this makes sense to everybody. But only 30%. Here was the secret. These researchers, who by the way have no products, they don't have a company, we don't sell you anything, you're either buying directly from your grocery store or you're buying directly from what I'm going to explain to you next. These other researchers who for 20 years had gone around the world to places like Russia and Mongolia and Tibet and South America and New Zealand, and they found foods or nutrients with huge amounts of nutrition, but small quantities of food. Some of the nutrients came from areas of the world where people live to be 100 years old and they don't get sick. So now the researchers had their foods, okay? 30% from the grocery store, 70% from these exotic foods around the world, okay? So that's part number one. Part number two was a new way for them to consume food. So 5 days a week, her name is Kristen, 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. Yes, 4 meals. Started with these exotic foods, that's your breakfast. Meal number two is you eat lunch, but all the food from whatever the foods from the grocery store. Meal number three is from dinner, the foods from the grocery store, and a fourth meal, these exotic foods from around the world. So you start with the exotic foods and you end with the exotic foods, and you have 2 regular, what you would consider regular food meals in between, but they are organic. And they gave her serving sizes. So 5 days a week, you'd be having 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, they did something, now this is really strange, called intermittent nutritional fasting. Not fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted eating. On those days, absolutely no food from the grocery store. None, zero. Only these nutrients and foods from around the world, but this time they let her eat, listen to this everyone, 8 times a day. She was eating every hour and a half. No one was hungry. As a matter of fact, they proved that in a month's time, people's hunger went down 41% in just a month. You know how it is on a diet. I mean, maybe the first week you're good, then your body's kicking in and saying, you're starving me. You don't understand that signal. That's where your hunger comes from. Your hunger doesn't come from more calories. It's coming because you don't have enough nutrition. You can't fight that. Eventually, your willpower breaks down and you quit the diet. And then you gain all the weight back in no time. You know I'm right. It's not that I want to be right. I just that's the medical evidence that's out there. Now, the whole key, that picture is about 8 years old. She's kept the weight off for 8 years. Some of these studies, which were started in 2012, 13 years ago, they've tracked the people. They've all been, almost everybody's been able to keep the weight off now for 13 years. It's not a diet. This is a whole new way of living your life. Now, here's the thing. The biggest goal is to get you to maintenance. What's maintenance look like? This is really easy. This is what I do every day. You have these foods from around the world. That's your breakfast, lunch from the grocery store, and then dinner from the grocery store, or whatever but you can even expand the list at that point. And then maybe every 2 months, 3 months, do another 48-hour intermittent nutritional fasting, because of the fact, not for weight loss anymore, but to detoxify your body, which is the next thing that I want to explain to all of you. We're now living in an incredibly toxic world, whether you know it or not. There was a big study came out about a month ago saying they're now finding microplastics in our brain and in our coronary arteries. You can go look it up. I don't make up things. Everything we share with you comes from medical proof. We don't give you opinions like, well, you don't know what you're talking about because it's calories in, calories out, it's energy deficit. No, it's not. It's been completely debunked, okay? That's just nonsense. You're all counting calories. You are. But it's like you're chasing windmills, because you're counting calories and your body isn't. What's your body looking for constantly, every minute, every second, every hour of your life? Nutrition. So there's a new medical syndrome that I have and you have, every person on the planet. It's called the TDOS syndrome. T for toxicity, the D is for nutritional deficiency, O for being overweight, S is for stress. And now these four factors come together, number one, to cause you to gain weight and basically are robbing us of our health. Yes, it's a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office, and I did discover it, okay? Peter Greenlaw, that's me, right? But that's not why I'm telling you that. In these studies where they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, they proved that this protocol was also assisting in removing the chemicals from the body. Now, someone was saying before, what about the loose skin? Now, I'm going to explain that to you. See, a pound of fat and a pound of muscle weigh exactly the same. But in your body, a pound of fat takes up 10 times the amount of space. Remember, I told you that you have the same number of fat cells you're born with that you die with, right? But those fat cells can expand or contract. So what's happening for us to survive in this chemical soup that we're living in, as we ingest through water, air, food, these chemicals, the body first presents the chemicals to the liver. I got in a big dust up yesterday, somebody telling me, of course the liver detoxifies you. Really? Well, right now, 40% of Americans estimate you have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease because our livers are so overwhelmed with chemicals, it can't process anymore. So what happens as the chemicals come in that the liver can't deal with, they now are in the bloodstream, and the last line of defense your body has, it's taking those chemicals, every one of you, even if you're thin, and stuffing it inside your visceral fat. You look at her stomach on day one, that's the evidence of the storage of the chemicals inside those fat cells. You look at day 30 with no exercise. That's with no sit-ups, no crunches, no gym, nothing. Look at the change. Where's the loose skin? There isn't any. Or when you look at someone like Julie, it's really crazy. That's 35 pounds in 37 days. Look at from her shoulders, her waist, she shrank. Where's the loose skin, everybody? See, that's why I'm saying this isn't a diet. It's like nothing any of you ever done before. Oh, good, Jen. Fantastic. Did you sign up this morning, just now? Jen, or when did you do it? You must have done it this morning. So again, everybody, can we get some likes? By the way, we get 0 likes? Really? Look, I'm not even bragging, okay? Well, maybe you think I am, but I'm not. That's it. I'm a researcher, but it's not my research. So it's not like I'm promoting myself, okay? That's not what's true. Yes, I've written 4 best-selling books with some of the biggest medical doctors in the world. I did appear 20 times on PBS and did over 1,500 live lectures in universities and hospitals and towns. They even flew me to China. But I'll be honest with you, for 22 of those 23 years of research in the medical world, what I'm sharing with you today, it meant 0. As a matter of fact, there was pushback. Oh my God, it's unhealthy to have people lose that much weight that fast on a diet. Well, this isn't a diet. But now what's happening is with these 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies, we're the only ones on the whole darn internet with peer-reviewed human trial studies. Guess what the doctors that we're talking to now? They can't wait to learn about this. Please, everyone, understand we're not teaching you how to do another diet. We're not teaching you how to count calories. As a matter of fact, we coach you for free. We got coached. You don't buy anything from us. You don't buy anything from the research. You're buying food. Keep people asking, what's the product? There's no product. The product is this new, it's called R2M. You could call it a new protocol, a new lifestyle, we call it a quality of life system. We didn't invent it. But all of you, I feel, where to go to find this? Okay, hold on. I'm going to show you where you go to find the information. So Tom, do you see right above the article in blue, the new health conversation? That's the free medical website. Only thing on there is the medical proof. There's no buy buttons. And Tom, I'll assure you, if you go there, we're not going to contact you. We're relying on the medical proof. I'll show you all the website right now, just so you know that I'm not making this up. Here's the website, everybody. There's absolutely nothing on there to buy. Those modules that you're looking at, those are educational. Look at number 3, the actual medical studies. You can go and see them. They're published in things like Nature Communications, which is the #1 medical journal in the world. See, the thing is, we're totally transparent. We don't have to make up anything. We don't have to trick you. People think we're tricking them. Oh, they won't tell us what the product is. It's not a product. Do you want to learn how to lose as much weight in a week as in 8 weeks of any diet and be able to keep it off for the rest of your life or not? I know you all got busy schedules and, the attention. I see how long people stay on the podcast. It's okay. But wow, what an opportunity for all of you to hit the reset button for the rest of your lives. This isn't, see, the problem with a diet, it's always a destination. Some of you are doing it now. There's a wedding coming up. Oh, summer's here. We got 4th of July. I want to look good in my bathing suit. Those are all great, wonderful. But how are you doing it? And do you realize that the diets you're going on by counting calories are making you unbelievably unhealthy? I'll explain that to you in just a moment. So let's come back. I just think the thing that's so amazing about that is that's 35 pounds in 37 days with no exercise. But look at her whole body shrank. Or my friend's daughter. I'd love for anybody to comment. What do you think? Do you think it's the same woman? That's the question I forgot to ask. Is that the same woman? Did we Photoshop it? Is it AI? Are we lying to you? No. Look at it, please. Wow, Jen, that is wonderful. Did you get a coach yet, Jen? You were on yesterday talking to me about, your husband had ulcerative colitis. Am I correct? Are you the same one? I'm just trying to remember. Obviously, I got so many people coming on here. But I that stood out to me. Like to try, MOG 7090. Okay, look, everyone. I don't know how to explain it to you and not. You want me to give you some of you do want me to give you a 10-second answer. This isn't about a recipe. This isn't about, it's like nothing you've ever done before. We're teaching you a lifestyle for the rest of your life for free. Because right there, you can all see see that website, it's in blue above their heads. The new health conversation. It's 100% free for you to go there. We won't contact you. I mean, why would we need to contact you when that's irrefutable medical proof? See, when you have peer-reviewed human trial studies, that's called irrefutable medical proof. No drug if it's approved without a peer-reviewed human trial study. I know sometimes they make mistakes, but the scientific method that they use to evaluate the research, there's nothing higher at this point in the world than peer-reviewed human trial studies. Because you hear the term, there's a scientific, the one I love on TV, there's a scientifically tested ingredient in this product. But when you look at their product and look at how much of that ingredient is in there, you'd need about 1,000 of their pills a day. You see, if what you have is that great, you would want to have peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. Does that make sense? Oh, good, Jen. Well, we'll see if we can help. So did you get contacted? That's what I'm asking. Need to drop off, but I'll go to the website. Okay, Veronica, thanks for joining us this morning. Well, I assume it's your morning wherever you are. Oh, wow. Somehow we got 3,000 likes. I dropped the ball in just 24 minutes. Thank you all. Barbara Howe, hello. And listen, if I'm not saying hello, not yet, I'm waiting. Okay, great. Listen, if I'm not calling out your name, it's only because I concentrate so hard on I've got so much data, and I know I have a really limited amount of time for most of you, and you're coming on and thinking this is a commercial or this is some kind of, no, this is a medical podcast. My job is to make you aware. My job is to educate you. My job is not to convince you. I don't have enough time to do that. I'm doing, like, some days, I did one yesterday, it was over 3 hours long because people kept coming on and asking me questions. This is live, this is not pre-recorded. I mean, I coach these two women on the cover of Women's World magazine, the number one women's magazine in the world. The daughter, her name is Cynde, she lost 50 pounds in 90 days. The mom, Linda, she lost 91 pounds in 9 months, and they both kept it off for 2 years. And again, I'm not, but you've got to understand, this is such a incredible milestone. Here's why. I've been doing this for 23 years. I wrote 4 best-selling books. I did 20 shows on PBS. I've done 1,500 live lectures in hospitals and universities and towns even. For 22 of my 23 years, it didn't mean anything. There's no way they would have ever gotten in this magazine without the medical proof. I mean, the magazine's calling it this. I mean, it's just really, so you don't think I'm making it up? Look what they're calling it. The new protein miracle. That's the magazine. The article, which is primarily with the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world. Who are you following? On I mean, they might have great credentials. I see some of all these titles after their name, but where's the medical proof? Did any of you ever consider that? Did you ever think about that? Why are you following these influenced, nice people? I'm not going to disparage them, but all I'm saying is let's make it fair to you. If they're not showing you peer-reviewed human trial studies, why? Because they don't have any. They're giving you opinions. But so far, our opinions are abject, miserable failure. In 1964, about 15% of the American population was overweight or obese. And right now, Johns Hopkins Medical School, listen to this. Johns Hopkins Medical School predicts obesity apocalypse by 2030. 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese. So before you throw your hands up in the air and give up because you keep doing these diets that are doomed to failure, they can't work. You're going against your own human physiology. Who's telling you that, like a calorie? Please, anybody tell me, give me the definition of a calorie. In a year's time, I've had 3 people on my podcast, and I do maybe 2 or 3 a day. I've had 3 people give me a real definition of a calorie, yet you're all counting calories. Why? Please put it in the chat. Tell me, what am I missing? What are you thinking is going to happen on these diets? Do you really think you're going to lose the weight and keep it off? And you think it was, oh, I did paleo and that didn't work. Oh, I'm doing keto now, it's better. I'm going to do carnivore. I mean, this is just, it's like, what are we doing? It's like the definition of insanity. And you understand it's not just me saying this. So what you're looking at there, or let's come to Kristen, I'm going to explain to everybody, because I know people are busy. I'm going to explain to you, how did she do that? Look at that, 21 pounds, 38 inches in 30 days. Honestly, be honest with me. Put it in the chat for everybody to see. If you were going to lose 20 pounds, pick any diet you want, any trainer, any gym, how long would you give yourself? I'd love for someone to put it in the chat so we can all see that, right? Okay, so you can see 21.2 pounds, 38.75 inches in just 30 days, right? Okay, so the thing that I think is so amazing about this is that's with no exercise allowed. She actually wore a Fitbit. So how in the world did they do this? So the researchers who invented this have no products. There is no product. This is food. But they're very specific foods, not just from North America. As a matter of fact, only 30% of what she consumed doing this came from organic sources in North America. That the researchers put together proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits. But instead of giving her calorie counts, which is the old, worn out dogma, they gave her serving sizes of these, because the key to this whole thing, which I'll explain to you in a moment, had nothing to do with counting calories. After 40 years, they proved it. See, the reason that diets fail, and the reason they're going to fail you, based on all the research that I'll show you in a moment, is because the body works on only one thing, not calories. It works on nutrition. And right when we're going along, we have a minimum amount of nutrition that we need in order to run all the organs, the brain, the kidney, the liver, the heart. When you go on a diet, think about what you're doing. You're reducing the amount of food you're consuming. But at the same time, what else are you reducing? Nutrition. When your brain figures out there's not enough nutrition to run all the organs, what do you think it does? It panics. It thinks you're literally starving to death because you are from a nutritional standpoint. So how does the brain counteract that? Because the brain's instinct is for us to survive. Don't make no bones about it, right? So the brain does not want to die. It needs nutrients. Now you've you've gone on a diet and you've lowered the amount of fuel available. So in panic mode, your brain will shut off your ability to access the fuel inside your fat cells and turn to your muscles. And now you're going to do two of the most unhealthy things you've ever done to yourselves unknowingly. Because you see, when you lose lean muscle in your body, which you're doing on these diets, it slows down your metabolism. That's why you plateau on diets. That's why you gain everything back. But much worse than that, what these diets are doing, when you lose lean muscle mass, this is not up for debate. You also slow down your own immune system. Now, sadly, I can address this. My younger brother in 2011 was diagnosed with kidney cancer. My younger brother was 6'4", and 8 months later, when he passed away, he weighed 115 pounds. I saw muscle wasting up close and personal. Now, you talk about a low-calorie diet. God forbid you have a relative or friend that has cancer. They have a terrible time eating, and they drop weight, they drop weight, they drop weight. And what are they losing? They're losing lean muscle, and they're slowing down their metabolism. That's not an opinion on my part. I wrote a book, one of our, I guess my most publicized book is called Your Third Brain. I wrote it with the top oncologist in the world, who's also a molecular biologist, who also worked with two men who won the Nobel Prize in medicine. And he taught me about this. Sadly, I met him a few years after my brother had passed away. Not that we're not curing, treating, diagnosing, or making any proclamations. But you are literally, it's called catabolic metabolism. Whatever diet you're on right now, you're using your muscles for fuel. I don't care what you think. That's the medical proof, okay? And when that happens, as you slow down the metabolism, obviously the weight stops, and then you plateau, and then you get frustrated, and then you quit, and you go to a new diet. You all know that's what's happening. It's so rare that I have anybody that comes on here. I have people I lost 40 pounds, and I've kept it off for a year and a half or 2 years. That doesn't mean anything. It's got to be longer than that, because the evidence shows when you get to 3 and 4 years that all those people are gaining all their weight back. Most people are gaining it back in a few months. That's what's really sad about this. Am I making sense? Kathy McFarland, 6 months or more. Our friend convinced us to try this. My first 11 days, I was down 15 pounds. What? Look at that. Shred it now. Are you kidding me? Look, did you read that, Kathy? Look at the comment underneath you. Listen, look at this. Our friend convinced us to try this. My first 11 days, I was down 15 pounds, 65 pounds in 5 months. What? This is unbelievable. I didn't set this up, everybody. I did not set this up. Wow. Okay, let's keep tapping. We got 6,000 likes already. Kathy McFarland, Kathy, comment on that. What do you think? Oh my goodness. That makes me smile. It makes me so happy. So Kathy, how excited would you be if you could do that in 30 days? Her name's Kristen. Now, again, I'm getting off track. I know everybody's going, tell us. Oh, we want to know. Get to the point. No, there's no get to the point. This is like, you want to learn something that could change the rest of your life, or you got to go get a cup of coffee. I mean, what's more important to you? And I'm not trying to be a smart aleck. Well, I am sometimes, I guess. People, it's amazing. People really want to take me on for, I don't know, they don't like my glasses, I don't wear a tie, whatever it is. But none of it's my research. I'm basically giving you the news. I'm holding in my hand 10 peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. You can go see the top ones at the website for free. Let me show you one more point. See the website, everybody, above the magazine, The New Health Conversation. Kathy, do you see that? Give me a yes. That website is free to go to. No one's going to contact you. No one's going to contact you. But you get the opportunity. If you like what you see, scroll down, you get a free coach. Kathy, it's not a gimmick. It's free coaching the whole time, not just in the beginning, not just the first conversation, but all the way through, and then teach you how to maintain it. Those two, the daughter lost 50 pounds in 90 days, Kathy. You said you give 6 months to lose 20. How about the mom at 80 years old, 91 pounds in 9 months, everybody? That's like 10 pounds a month at 80 years old. She'll tell you when she first started, when they did this, when she started, she couldn't walk up a flight of stairs. It was like being out of breath. Now she's playing pickleball 3 times a day. A day. She's swimming 3 times a week. She's walking 4 miles a day. She got her life back at, does life be, well, when she did it, to be fair, it was, she was like 70, she's 77 and a half. Yeah, because she's 80 now. But she's kept it off for 2 years. I mean, that's what should impress all of you. Yes, Jen. As a matter of fact, well, not the research so much, just absolute experience with people with that. Because as you know, I'm 65 with 220. Yeah, Kathy. But let me address Jen's question there. So obviously, with cerebral palsy, unfortunately, way better than me, or with muscular dystrophy, or any of these musculoskeletal things, that one of the things you're fighting, unless there's something I don't know, is obviously the development of lean muscle or the deterioration of lean muscle. That's again why they have so much trouble, the motor skills, etc. Now, I would never promise a mom, okay, but again, talk to your coaches, because I'm very sensitive to the sensors that are out there, and we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or making many medical proclamations. Here's a better way to think about it, Jen. If you could give your 16-year-old the greatest amount of nutrition in the world in the least amount of food, probably they would feel better. Probably they would have more energy. I wouldn't be foolish enough to promise you that, let alone in the airways. I'm just telling you that that's the principle I'd love everybody to get. This works because what the researchers did, they didn't give a darn about how much food people were consuming. They only cared about how much nutrition could we get into your body without you needing like 10,000 calories of food. I mean, that's basic. See, our food in North America, Jen and Michelle and everybody, is Kathy, I was going to say, is almost nutritionally bankrupt. I'll give you an example. There are 220 studies where they compared organic food to regular food, and the organic food was slightly better nutritionally. It was less pollution, and that's why I eat organic food, not because it's that much more nutrition. Not that it's not bad, but it's not anywhere near what it used to be, say, 100 years ago. Not even close, okay? So the researchers, they said, of the foods that would be available that we could get at the grocery store in North America, we want to pick out the food groups, the kinds of food that would have the most nutrition with the least amount of food. But that wasn't the total secret to what she and everybody else did. So first they determined and made a list for her. Only 30% of the food she consumed was from proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits. Now, when it came to meat, like steak or hamburger, it had to be grass-fed finished, not just grass-fed. And you'd get the list. You actually would physically have a grocery list in your hand of the proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits. But instead of calorie amounts, the most important thing they give you is the serving sizes. Because remember, they're looking at the amount of nutrition without huge amounts of food. So I'll give you an example. Here's a great example. A bowl of spinach, the iron levels in spinach, which is one of the reasons you eat spinach. Cornell University did a study from 1953 to year 2000. They estimate the amount of iron in spinach has decreased over that period of time from 1953 to 2000 by 4,300%. So a bowl of spinach in 1953 would be the equivalent to having around 30 bowls of spinach today. Do you understand the concept now, everybody? It's not about it has nothing to do with the quantity. It has to do with the quality. So that was 30% of the food that she consumed to create 21 pounds, 38 inches, and all the other people that I've showed you, or I will show you, had these unbelievable results. The other 70% of the food came from other researchers. See, the researchers who created this, they don't have a company. They don't have any products. This isn't a product. It's not lotion, potions, pills, supplements, shots, nothing like that. These other researchers, though, had spent 20 years going around the world to Russia, Mongolia, to Tibet, and the Himalayas, South America, and New Zealand to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but small amounts of food, if that makes sense. And that's what they basically based this on. Then they created, excuse me, using those new food combinations, completely different ways of eating that had never been tried before. So 5 days a week, based on these new discoveries of these foods, she had 4 meals a day. She started with these, we call them exotic foods from around the world. That was breakfast, meal number one. Meal number two was lunch from the grocery store, only the grocery store food. Meal number three was dinner, only from the grocery store list that you would get. And the fourth meal from these exotic foods from around the world, that was her day. 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. That's called protein pacing. Because the other thing the researchers proved, it wasn't just about the nutritional density. It was the timing. When was she eating? What were the intervals? That's all laid out for you. There's nothing for you to figure out. You just follow what the coaches do, and they give you, the researchers actually developed for the patients in these studies. It's called the blueprint for success. And right here you can see the yellows. Those are actually daily videos that are instructions from the researchers. And now, why would they do that? Because they don't make anything. They don't have anything to sell. Here's why. They spent 40 years of their life. They're now recognized as cracking the code for obesity. And the major obesity specialists saying, well, you've made all diets obsolete. But they wanted to ensure that if you were going to do this, you would do it exactly the way they did it in the medical trials. Why would you do it any different than that? And we didn't want to, and also we have coaches that it's free coaching. Now they've all gone through it. They've all been, a lot of our coaches have coached a couple thousand people. But the reason that the blueprint is so important, it creates consistency. It's quality control. So all the coaches, this is what you're going to go by. And they're there to cheerlead you, they're to reinforce. They'll answer questions like, for example, maybe I got a emergency dinner tonight with my business or whatever. They'll deal with you, the whole time. But imagine, so 5 days a week, 4 meals, 2 days a week, only these foods from around the world, but she ate 8 times a day. 8 every hour and a half she ate. That's called intermittent nutritional fasting. Not water fasting, not time restricted eating. Nothing to do with that nonsense. And look at the results, everybody. Unless you think it's photoshopped, unless you think we're lying to you, unless, don't let your prejudices prevent you from changing the rest of your life. Like maybe you don't like me, you don't like my style. Science doesn't care about that. It doesn't give a damn. Science has no emotions, it has no prejudice, it has no agenda. It just is. That's why this is so exciting. There's no convincing needed. All right, let's see. Okay. All right. Now you're okay. You proved my point. Well, I wasn't trying to make a point. I've just had experience with this, and that's what we've seen. So obviously you're going to discuss. See, you understand also, Jen, this is why we have free coaching. This is not some diet. This is not Jenny Craig or Weight Watchers or Nutrisystem, not to disparage them, but this is not some recipe. Oh, you're going to have proteins. Have they ever told you about the nutritional content of what they're giving you? These prepackaged foods that are basically dead? I feel sorry because so many of you are going to go back to this nonsense. Counting calories, paleo, keto, Mediterranean, the Cornish diet, the zone diet, lose weight for your blood type. It's just, and yet we keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Are you all, I'm willing to try anything? Well, Jen, listen, without making you any promises, we would never do that. I've done a lot to let you know, not the same thing as cerebral palsy, but I was a keynote speaker 2 years in a row at Autism One in Chicago, the largest autism conference in the world. We've worked with kids with, cerebral palsy, with, MS, with Down syndrome, and we're not curing, treating, diagnosing. Look, does it make sense to all of you? If you found a food that had massive amounts of nutrition in less quantity, why wouldn't you eat it? It'd be like if you go to the gas station today. Here's a good example. 2 pumps. Pump number 1 says this gallon will take you 20 miles. Pump number 2 says this gallon will take you 100 miles. Which pump would you choose? That's what these researchers have done, essentially. No, seriously, I know it sounds too simple, but it took them. They're the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. They put the food groupings together, not us. We didn't have anything to do with it. They created this. We're just showing you how to do it. Why would you think? I'd love for anybody to name a diet in there that good, Jen, this makes sense. Great. But look at that, everybody. That's a month, 21 pounds. And 38 inches in a month. Why wouldn't you want to know about that? Why wouldn't you want to know? Hello, Robert. Hello, Actalab. Hello, Hope Floats. Hello, It's Below the Beats. Um, wow, we got 8,200 likes already in less than an hour. People must really be loving this content. Not me. I don't, it has nothing to do with me. It's not my research, everybody. Our job is to report the research to you. Unless you want to become a researcher and read 800 books, and I flew 2 million miles in the last 23 years around the world, not just lecturing, but meeting some of these top experts who taught me. I'm not the expert. So don't get mad at me. We're simply giving you the news that you're unaware of. I mean, are any of you, please put in the chat, any of you, what would you say about that? If it's not science fiction, if it's not fake, have you ever seen 21 pounds, 38 inches in a month? She only had to lose 35 pounds. She lost 21 pounds in a month. That's 5 pounds a week. And then you look at more people on here like Julie, 35 pounds in 37 days. 35 pounds in 37 days. Mog 7090, of course, thanks for sharing. Psalm 1955 said hello. Yeah, right, all of you. Look, what more could we possibly do for you? This is the daughter of a friend of mine. I know her. Look at that, everybody. You think her life changed? 60 pounds in 3 months? 60? Not 6, 60. I'd love for anybody to comment on that. Is it the same woman? Are we photoshopping? Are we lying to you? Is it AI? Is it some, 3D distortion or whatever? I'd love for, lots of likes now. Keep tapping on that screen, everybody. Yeah, amazing reels. That's not the same person, Tracy. Tracy, 1,000,000%. It's the same person. She's the daughter of a friend of mine. I know her, and she's kept that weight off for 8 years. Well, look at Curtis. He did even better. Look at this. You think we photoshopped that? 40 pounds and 52 inches in 30 days? And look at his blood work. You can't lie about his blood work. Well, I guess you could. But look at his A1C from 8.4 to 6.4. Triglycerides from 242 to 124 in 30 days. Tracy, show me anything like that. Anything. It's just, I understand you don't think it's the same woman because you've never seen anything like this. Nobody has. Including when the researchers invented this, it was a theory. They didn't know if it was going to work. That's what you got to understand. This was started, these big studies that are now coming out, they were started, some of them 13 years ago in 2012. I mean, you could be as skeptical as you want to be. What's the secret? Well, that's okay. Now we're getting somewhere. So let me go back and show you this first woman. So here's what they did, Tracy, that was different. The researchers not us, we had nothing to do with creating this. We're reporting on the research, okay? Let's be clear, we're the researchers of researchers. The researchers, after 40 years, 100 studies, thousands of people, every diet out there figured diets just don't work long term. Evidenced by the fact we have 80% of America overweight, 50% obese, and 50% pre-diabetic. They said the problem with the diet was that calorie counting is the most ridiculous thing anyone's ever come up with because the human body has no idea what a calorie even is. So counting calories, which is what all these diets are based on, is just fool's gold. The only thing your body cares about is nutrition. So what happens to us when we go on a diet, we're going along and we decide, okay, we're going to go on a diet, but we have a minimum amount of nutrition at that point before we went on the diet. If you can name a different diet than this, all the diets out there are some form of reducing the amount of food we're consuming or the kinds of food. Like you go on the keto diet, you're eliminating carbohydrates, but you got to understand you still need carbohydrates in your life. That's the problem. So the researchers said, wait a minute, can we reduce the quantity of food people consume, but can we go find new food groups never put together before from around the world and then put them in a new eating regimen? That's a good way to say it. So here's what they did, Tracy. They created a food list for her and everybody. See, the research, they don't sell anything. There's no products here, Tracy. Understand it. This is food, okay? So 30% of what she consumed came from the grocery store. Proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits. But the researchers, instead of giving her calorie counts, they give her serving sizes. Very important. But only 30% of what she consumed. Now, these researchers, they don't sell anything, we don't sell anything, but these researchers found other researchers who for 20 years had gone around the world to find foods Literally, they went there. They're like the Indiana Jones of nutrition, right? They went to Russia. They went to Mongolia. They literally went to the Himalayas in Nepal. They went to South America, New Zealand, to find foods with these huge amounts of nutrients, but small quantities. Some of the nutrients in here are from places where people living to be 100 years old and they don't get sick. So now they had the combination, right? 30% of foods from the grocery store picked by the researchers, right? And then these other food groups from around the world. So now they had the ingredients. Now, what did she actually do? They created 2 new ways of consuming food based on these new food combos. So first of all, 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. She started with these exotic foods. That was the breakfast. That was meal 1. Lunch, meal 2 from the grocery store. Dinner, meal 3 from the grocery store. And a 4th meal, these exotic foods from around the world. So 5 days a week, she was eating 4 times a day. That's called protein pacing. 2 days a week, she did something, it'll sound radical, intermittent nutritional fasting. Not fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted eating. On those days, no food from the grocery store, but instead, these exotic foods from around the world. But this time, she ate them 8 times a day. She was eating about every hour and a half. One of the things the researchers proved that it's not just how much you eat, whatever, it's when you eat. And it's how you spread that out over the course of a day. So this whole thing about, going from 8 o'clock at night until noon the next day, it's one of the most destructive things you could ever do to your body. Because your body needs fuel all the time. And it's kind of like, it's regulated. It's going, that's why it's called protein pacing and intermittent nutritional fasting. It's fasting with nutrition. All I can tell you is those are the results, but that's not the big part. The big part is that she's been able to maintain that for 8 years. I lost 40 pounds, Tracy, in 7 weeks, 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. I know it's too good to be true. And Tracy and all of you, you can all go and see the medical proof, the actual studies at the New Health Conversation, and an interview with the #1 nutrition weight loss physiologist in the entire world. He and his team invented this. When you watch that interview with him, it's a podcast, you'll never count calories. You'll never do a traditional diet again. I don't want you to believe me. I'm not the world's expert. We're simply reporting, like I said, we're reporting the news to all of you. That's why we're called the researchers of the research. I've been doing it 23 years. I wrote 4 best-selling books. I've appeared 20 times on PBS, did over 1,500 live lectures around the world. And I can tell you for 22 years in the medical world, you know what that meant? All that academia I'd done? 0. Why? Because there were no peer-reviewed human trial studies. Not a scientific paper. Not something on mice or rats or chimpanzees or whatever. On human beings. And these studies take a long time. Isn't it ironic that no one else you're following on social media that I've seen has one shred of medical evidence, and yet people have, I see one person, I'm not going to mention his name, I think he's got 8 million followers telling people to do something that we know medically is harmful to you as far as the diet. I'm not going to get into that right now. You have a chance to complete, look, Tracy, that's the cover right here. Women's World is the #1 women's magazine in the world. I coach these 2 women. I know them. The daughter, 57 years old, lost 50 pounds in 3 months. The mom lost 91 pounds in 9 months, and they both kept it off for 2 years. This is not a scam. This is real. Look at the headline, Over 50 Protein Miracle. Well, it's more than just the protein. And if you can read, I'll bring it in closer. Look at this. This is from the magazine. Powerful new eating pattern can take weight off faster than anything else you've tried. They're endorsing this. But why? Because it's the only protocol with 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. It's not a diet. It doesn't work like that. As a matter of fact, the main reason to do it is not even to lose weight. It's because of this new medical syndrome called TDOS that I have and you have and every person on the planet. T for toxicity, D for nutritional deficiency, O for being over, and S is for stress. And those 4 factors come together to form this syndrome, which, by the way, is a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office. You've got to get that in. That's very, very important. And the point is that you are all now in a position to change the rest of your lives. This isn't some short fix like you're going to lose the weight and you're going to gain it all back. And look, right there you can see it, Tracy and everybody else above their name in blue, the New Health Conversation. It's a free medical website. There's nothing on that website to buy. The only thing there is the medical proof. I don't know why you wouldn't go there, because most of you are going to go back to paleo, keto, Mediterranean. You're going to go to the gym. You're going to do 10,000 steps. But we're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, despite the fact we have more and more diets every single year. I can't believe it's already June. What's today? June 9th. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I mean, pretty soon people are going to be worrying about, the news resolution. What's the biggest new losing weight? But the problem is most people abandon all those diets by the end of January, early February, because none of them work long term. I mean, when we're talking about the reality of the medical proof, let me back up for just a moment. Oh, Tracy. Yeah, look at what he's talking about. Yes, it's what we eat. Yeah, Tracy, that's really fun. Well, happy birthday, by the way. I'm wishing you, Kathy McFarland, I'm going to do this. Oh, you're 55. Wonderful, Tracy. So Tracy, please be honest with me, okay? Do you feel like now you have an understanding of how unique and different this is at a minimum? At a minimum, right? I'm curious, because my role in this, hopefully, is to educate you. My role in this is to make you aware. My role in this is not to convince you. My role in this shouldn't be to sell you. Because if I'm true to what I'm saying, look at the new health conversation. You can see it there. You can see the new health conversation. It's a free medical website for you to go. Tracy, yes. Okay, good. And Tracy, I want to support your skepticism, right? Because if this was just another diet, you should be skeptical. To get the main reason to do this, believe it or not, Tracy, is to combat the TDOS syndrome. Now, how can I say that? Because in the medical studies, Tracy, they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis. And they proved that this protocol was assisting the body in removing chemicals from the body. That's why they don't have all the loose skin. When you look at Kristen, look at her stomach on day one. So that bloating that you see there, that's the fat cells with the chemicals inside expanding. That's what happens. As we ingest these chemicals, we know it, the body takes, well, first the liver is now overwhelmed, they can't deal with it anymore. Then the chemicals have to be, we got to deal with them. The immune system can't deal with them. So the body takes them and stuffs them inside the fat cell. That's why you're all complaining about how much weight you have. Is it less important to you than the amount of fat you have, especially around your middle? Well, look at, there's the evidence with no sit-ups. She did no exercise. They didn't allow anybody to exercise. I mean, Tracy, just tell me, is that unbelievable? Just unbelievable? So who else would like to ask me a question? Hello, Yvonne. Oh, thanks for the rose. Wow, we have 11,000 likes already. Come on, everybody, keep going. Let's get some more likes. I've got about another 15 minutes that I'm going to go. Who else would like to ask me a question? Okay, let me show you some other before and afters, and then I'll come back and. So Julie, that's 35 pounds in 37 days, everybody, with no exercise. Now you can think it's photoshopped, you can think it's AI, you can think we're lying to you, but look at her body transformation. Look at the change in her body, from her neck to her ankles. Her whole body changed, right? And then this is the daughter. This is the one where everybody accuses me it's a different woman. 60 pounds in 3 months. As a matter of fact, Tracy, was it you that didn't believe? It's okay, Sam. It's not a supplement. Sam, no. You came on late. Sam, this is a complete revolutionary new approach based on food groups put together that never been done before. Only 30% from the United States and the other 70% from these exotic foods from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. It's SAM food. It's not a supplement. And Sam, look at this. What do you think about that, Sam? How about 40 pounds and 52 inches in 30 days with no exercise? That's an older gentleman. Look at his blood work from 8.4 to 6.4, triglycerides 242 to 124. What supplement do you think he'd take to lose 40 pounds in a month? It's not a supplement. It's revolutionary. It's backed, Sam. It's backed by 10 peer-reviewed human trial medical studies published in the biggest medical journals in the world. They proved it's safe, it works, and it's validated. Nobody else has that. Nobody. It's not it's just, see, everything we've been doing up to now is now obsolete. But most of you are going to go back to what you were doing, but that's really sad. I mean, look at his stomach, Sam. That's with no exercise. Look at that in 30 days. What do you think? Give me your comment. Sam, don't confuse my passion for anything other than that. And I'll explain to you what they did and why it's different in just a moment, Sam. Okay? So that's, yeah. And Sam, I'm going to show all of you this. Now, everybody I'm showing you here was part of the medical studies. No one was allowed to exercise, Sam. That's with no exercise whatsoever. Okay? And then when you see this, Sam, this is the daughter of a friend of mine. Look at that, Sam. What do you think about that? 60 pounds in 3 months. Look at her face. Look at her arms. Look at her middle. Where's the loose skin, Sam? Is that unbelievable? Right? Crazy? Yeah, big changes. But she's kept it off for 8 years. That's the other part you need to understand, Sam. All of these, it's called R2M is the protocol. I didn't invent it. I have nothing to do with inventing it. We're reporting on it. And it's now featured in this. This is the #1 women's magazine in the world, Women's World. It just came out last Friday on June 6th, and they're endorsing it. And the reason that they did it was because it's backed by these 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. It's a news story. Well, I mean, do you think that's, well, look at that. I think that would be the headline, wouldn't it? I mean, is that amazing? Now, what I wanted to show all of you is this is an athlete who did exercise. You're almost going to think this is, I know you think it's Photoshop. Where do you see this, Sam? Hold on one second. I got to find it. Okay, everybody, look at that. Day one, look at the pretty good shape. I'd say really good shape, right? Now, when it says day 5, that's 4 days. That's the morning of day 5. Look at the change already in the abdomen. And then day 12, 11 days. So it's the morning of day 12, not after 12 days. Look at that, everyone. Now, obviously, he exercised, no doubt. But look at that. Sam, what do you think about that in 11 days? Okay, Denise, I'll tell you in 1 second, okay? But Sam, just please comment on that. Now, everybody, before you think you photoshopped it, before you get mad at me and we're faking it, that's my youngest son. He's 40 years old, Sam. 40, look at that. Okay, so I'm going to show you Denise here. I'm going to show all of you. To find out more, Denise, there's the website. You see it right there above the magazine article in blue, The New Health Conversation. That's the free medical website for you to go to, Denise. And once you get a chance, it's only the medical proof. We will not contact you, Denise, if you go there. Don't panic yet. We want you to see the medical proof first, and then you get to choose. Scroll down, and you get a free coach for everybody, including Sam, etc. The coaching is 100% free. No kidding. You've never done anything. We were coached. And the thing is, Sam, I'm going to explain to you how in the world are they creating those kind of results, all right? So everybody, I've only got about 10 minutes left, so hang in there. I'm going to explain exactly how in the world are they doing, how did she lose 21 pounds in a month? So the researchers who invented this, not me, they're considered the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world, not somebody just giving you an opinion on social media, even though they're medical doctors and they're chiropractors and they're dietitians. Do they have any medical proof? Not that I've ever seen. So these researchers figured out after 40 years of studies, 100 studies, thousands of people, the diets just don't work long term. And here's why, Sam and everybody else and Denise. The reason diets don't work is they're based on the flawed principle of counting calories. I've been doing this now for a year. And when I always ask the audience, give me the definition of a calorie, I've had 3 people get it right in a year. You're counting calories, your body has no idea what a calorie is. So let's switch off that for a moment. So the researchers said, here's how our body works. We have a minimum amount, not of calories that we need, of nutrition we need each day to run all our organs. You got that, everybody? When you go on a diet, what you're doing, Sam, Denise, and everybody else, you're reducing the quantity of the food you're consuming. But what you don't, or maybe you didn't think about it before, you're also reducing nutrition. When your brain figures out there's less nutrition fuel to run all your organs, which the brain then goes in survival mode and thinks you're starving to death, which you are from a nutritional standpoint, and it immediately stops accessing the fuel in your fat cells and turns to your muscles for fuel. It's not up for debate. Every one of you on every one of these diets, 25 to 40% of what you're losing is lean muscle mass, whether you believe it or not, okay? Now what's happening, the body, the brain, as you use your muscles continuously as you're on these diets because you're in a nutritional starvation, it slows it down to the point where now you can't lose weight anymore. That's why you've all plateaued on these darn diets. You come off the diet, you gain everything back, because you've slowed your metabolism down. And by losing lean muscle mass, Sam, Denise, everybody else, you also reduce your own immune system's ability to do what? To do its job. So the researchers said, wait a minute, we got to do something different. We're going to concentrate on locating foods that they located. And they don't have any products. They don't have a company. They're scientists. So they put together a food list of foods she could buy from the grocery store, all organic, but only 30% of the food she consumed in a month came from American sources in the grocery store. Those included proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits. And again, instead of giving her calorie counts, they gave her serving sizes. Very important that you understand that, all right? So 30% of the food she was going to consume in a month came from this grocery list that you would get. You'd go to the grocery store, here's your list, free. The other 70% came, again, not from the researchers, not from us, but directly from these other researchers who spent 20 years going around the world to places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, to find food nutrients with huge amounts of nutrients, but really small quantities of food. And some of the areas where they brought some of these foods back were where people were living to be 100 years old and not getting sick. So now they had the food groups, right? They had 30% from the grocery store, 70% from these exotic foods from around the world. Then they created two completely new ways of consuming based on these new food groups. 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. Yep. She started with these exotic foods from around the world. That was meal number 1. Meal number 2, lunch from the grocery store list of foods. Meal number 3, dinner from the grocery store list. And meal number 4, from these exotic foods from around the world. You got it? So 5 days a week, you'd have 4 meals a day. That's called protein pacing. 2 days a week, she did, now this is on strange, all of it, she did something called intermittent nutritional fasting, not fasting. On those days, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods from around the world, but this time they had her eating 8 times a day. She was fasting with nutrition because these represented tiny amounts of food by quantity, but huge amounts of nutrition. And those are the results, everybody. Now, key to this is not the fact we can get the weight off you. That's almost a joke that we're going to do that. It's all about maintenance. And you get coached for free, not just initially, not just to lose the weight, but teaching you then how to maintain. I was 40 pounds in 7 weeks, 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. Have any of you done that? Have any of you been able to keep weight off on diets? So you did a diet, you yo-yoed, you gained it back, and then you looked for a new diet. But you ended up in the same place or worse. Because, again, let me read to you from Medicare to kind of close this section out. This is a big study they just published on diets because they're trying to lower healthcare costs, which we know are exorbitant, right? Listen to this. Medicare. Medicare's search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. Our researchers at Medicare reviewed studies of long-term outcomes of calories in, calories out restrictive diets to assess whether these diets have any effect or are an effective treatment for obesity. The study showed that 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost on all of these diets. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits. This is Medicare telling you whatever diet you're on now, it's doomed to failure. Now, you can do what you're free country, do whatever you want to do. And listen to another article here about calories. Calorie counting, excuse me, calorie counting is a relic, a simplistic dogma that ignores the body's sophisticated survival instinct because it battles our biology, hormonal signals, and prioritizes nutrient quality, metabolic adaptation, conserving energy, and psychological needs for intuitive eating. They're saying that counting calories, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. But most of you are going to do that. Now, one last thing I want to cover, and I'm not against the shots, but I want to show you the medical proof now. How effective really are the shots? They're helping diabetics. They're helping people that are morbidly obese. We're not against them. All I want to do is share with you from the New England Journal of Medicine. You can all go look it up. Google it. It's in the public record. Once weekly semaglutide in adults that are overweight or obese. This was a 68-week study. Got that? 68 weeks. After 68 weeks, the weight loss was 32 pounds, and of the 32 pounds people lost, 40% was lean muscle mass. Well, she didn't get the memo because she lost 21 pounds in 30 days. And Curtis, look at Curtis, 40 pounds in a month. Which would you do? 32 pounds Not that they didn't lose weight, they certainly did, but losing 40% of the lean muscle mass. Do you know anybody coming off the shot? Maybe they couldn't afford it, whatever. You know, they're gaining like a half a pound a day because what does the shot do? It slows down the food moving through your digestive tract. Code word, you're getting less food. But what else are you getting less of? Nutrition. Am I making sense to everybody? Can somebody put a yes in there? Do you all understand that you could change your lives immediately? Although you can't start tomorrow because you'd have to order food from the grocery store and these exotic foods from around the world that the coaches will show you how to do that. So Kathy says yes. Denise says yes. Okay, great, everybody. Now let me go back before we close this out. Again, I want all of you, we invite you to go to that website right above the magazine article, The New Health Conversation. And wow, we got 14,000 likes. That's wonderful. But look, everybody, that is a free medical website, The New Health Conversation. Does everybody see it there in blue? Somebody put a yes. I want to make sure you can read it. So if you do want to go to the website, at least you know where to go. You just type in, no spaces, The New Health Conversation. There's nothing to buy on that website. There's no buy buttons. We're not going to contact you. None of my books are for sale there. Nothing. Just the medical proof. Because again, we want all the censors to be sensitive to the fact we're living up to our community guidelines. We're not selling anything. There's nothing to buy there. We don't buy anything from us. We don't have any products. We have knowledge. We have education. That's hopefully what this podcast is all about. When you go there, and if you like what you see, you get to choose. You can scroll down and get a free coach. No gimmicks, no tricks. And the coach will coach you the whole time, including you how to do maintenance. They'll get you the food list that you take to the grocery store. They'll show you how to order directly from the suppliers, not from them. I should tell you one other thing. If you go to the website, it'll say 100% money back guarantee. Well, that's not from us. The 70% of the food you would purchase, those suppliers, like no, they'll give you 100% of your money back in the first 30 days if it doesn't work. Now, nothing's 100%, but it's so rare when anybody asks for a refund, it's totally crazy. So does that make sense to everybody? So one last time, you can all go to the New Health Conversation. It's right there. You can see it right above the magazine cover. And for those coming on maybe too late, because I'm going to be closing this one off, this is the cover of Women's World. It came out June 6th, or wait a minute, June 9th, June 9th, because it just came out, so I'm confused. And these two women, I coached them. The daughter, who's 57 years old and is a nurse, she lost 50 pounds in 90 days. The mom, who's 80, she lost 91 pounds in 9 months, and they both kept it off for 2 years. And you can see they're endorsing it. So the Over 50 Protein Miracle, that's the magazine saying that. And then if you can read, maybe you can, I'll read it for you if you can't. It says, Over 50 Protein Miracle, backed by 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies, which is true. Powerful new eating pattern can take off weight faster than anything else you've tried. That's the #1 women's magazine in the world endorsing this. Why are they doing that? It's not an ad, because it's these 10 peer-reviewed studies that backed it up. And think about it. There's no product. You're buying food, but you're eating it in a totally different way. With the object being what? Two of the biggest points: to detoxify your body, which we have blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis proving this is really a detox. And two, the fact that you're able to keep the weight off long-term, maintenance. That's why it's called R2M, race to maintenance. So anyway, I want to thank all of you for being on the podcast today. Just to let you know, let's see. So 8, 9, 30. So I'll probably come on again between 11:30 and 12 Eastern Standard Time today. So 11:30, 12 Eastern, that would be 10:30, 11:30 Central, 9:30, 10:30 Mountain, and 8:30, 9:30 on the West Coast, and of course then in England, and because this is going all over the world. I mean, we got people in Germany, we got people in the Netherlands, we got people in the UK, we got people in New Zealand and Australia. This podcast has really taken off because of all of you. But I'd love anybody just to put it in the chat. Do you feel that you've learned something and you have real value here? At a minimum, that you're curious, that you want to go see the medical proof. If we've done that, we've done our job. Because we're not here to convince you. And we're certainly not here to sell you. We don't have time to do that. But I'd love for anybody to put in the chat if you feel like this has really been valuable to you. And the reason that I always ask that is that website, the New Health Conversation, turn on to your friends. This is not, I mean, this is for the world. You don't have to be on my podcast to go to that website's open to everybody in the world, and it's free, and there's nothing to buy there. It's only the medical proof. So I guess, share it with your friends or whatever. Okay, so I do have to go, everybody. I want to thank all of you for listening. Wow, we got 14,000 likes. Thank you, thank you, thank you all. So everybody have a great rest of your next 24 hours. I say that because we're going all over the world and it's all these different time zones. So I can't say good night, good morning, good afternoon, because it's like somebody somewhere else and that doesn't make any sense. Good, Kathy. I'm glad. I'm really, really happy for you, Kathy. You'll get, all of our coaches are wonderful, Kathy. They've all done the protocol. And, again, Kathy, you understand it. Well, 100% money back guarantee, you don't have too much of a risk. But obviously, we would feel if when people would ask for a refund, we did something wrong, then we didn't coach. But nothing's 100%, of course. But I'll tell you what, this is probably 99%. Okay? All right, everybody. Bye. Good luck, Kathy. Go to the website. Later, everybody.